Welcome to Festool TV. My name is Frank, and today I'd like to show you applications with the PS420. Of course, I will not only show the jigsaw, I also need the saw blade that goes with it for the applications. Here at Festool, our blades are color-coded. This means that we've given the different jigsaw blades colors for their different applications. For example, the jigsaw blades marked in blue are for steel, iron, metals. The yellow golden saw blades are for wooden surfaces or wooden materials. The red saw blade is for plastic. Green-black is for construction materials, such as cement-joined fiber panels. So we have here a quick overview of which saw blade is the right one for the carpenter. There are, of course, also intricacies, such as the set saw blade, the sanded saw blade, or a bi-saw blade for high temperatures, if the materials are hard. Let's look at it in detail. The classic one is certainly working on the kitchen countertop. Most carpenters use the standard saw blade for kitchen countertops. Here I'm taking a standard saw blade, our Carvex saw blade, a set saw blade. It's a little thicker so that it stays stable. With it, I'll now work on the kitchen countertops. There are, of course, many more options. Either I'll make a sink or a stovetop in the kitchen counter, which I'll do here, or I will align this edge to the wall. That means if I don't have tiles and would like everything to be fitted to the wall, I've drawn a line here. If I now saw from above, my problem is that of splinters. There are, of course, saw blades from Festool too, which work here the other way around, so that I won't have any splinters. But this is not easy to saw. That's why we're using a splinter guard here. It looks like this, and is used here at the front. I would rather work from the other side. So I have an optimal view of my splinters and choose whether I work on the right or left of them. Now I'm putting the whole thing on pendulum 3-stroke and using the automatic function. This means that I can look for splinters at a low speed, and then I can cut through the countertop. I would, of course, like to make an undercut. That is, the edge should be sawed in such a way that it falls away backwards, so that the upper edge fits perfectly to the wall fixture. We have an accessory for making the undercut, this angle table. The angle table is easily clipped and put in a slightly slanted position, 10 degrees, 15 degrees, at whatever degree I would like. Now we're cutting again with an undercut. You can see that I've undercut the whole thing. Now it's cut to fit the wall exactly. The advantage of doing it this way is that I can see exactly if I'm sawing on the left or the right of the splinters. Cutting square timber, such as this door frame profile, can also be done with the jigsaw. Here I'm doing it in such a way that the jigsaw does not enter the front area. I'm sawing in the rear area. Thus, I have far fewer splinters. For the corresponding dimensions, I need a longer saw blade. Here I'm taking the golden Carvex saw blade. The same setting, pendulum stroke 3, automatic, and let's go. The advantage is that in the front area, where the block frames are visible on the floor, there are no splinters. In the rear area, where the wall will be later, it's okay if there are splinters. I will not be able to see them later, so I can simply cut or adjust block frames to length. Here I have a plank now, a pine plank, on which I will saw a small curve the same as when working on an abutment. Of course, I need a longer saw blade for this work. I'm now sawing along the outline, and here I'll go in a different direction. I'm not sawing from above, where I would then have to work with the splinter guard. Rather, I'm sawing from a different place to show what results you can achieve if you saw exactly along the splintering. I think you can see the result. So I have the optimal view of my splinters and can operate the machine wonderfully from underneath. This is, of course, also the advantage for why we've constructed a light machine here of only 1.9 kilos, so that the applications that carpenters must often carry out can take place. You can, of course, use this Carvex saw blade for working, reducing, cutting, or fitting these cable ducts. However, it's quite rough, and thus the cut will not be optimal. In these cases, I make an exception and take a blue saw blade, which is usually intended for metal materials. I take this blue saw blade with rough teeth in order to optimally work on these very hard plastic components. Everything is now reduced by the engine speed. I'm working with the 3-4 setting. I'll also reduce the pendulum stroke to 1. So I have here a wonderfully clean cut. Styrofoam and insulating material and building materials make it not so easy to work with jigsaws, because often saw blades are used which are very rough and produce many chips or small pieces of foam material.
kleine Stücke von diesem Schaumaterial habe. In diesem Fall
In this
setze ich
case,
hier ein
I'm using a
spezielles
special saw
Sägeblatt ein.
blade.
Das ist ein Sägeblatt mit einem
This is a saw
Wellenschliff.
blade with a serrated blade.
Und auch hier schauen wir uns das Ergebnis
Here
an.
too, we can see the
Immer
result with a low
kleineren
engine speed setting, level 2.
Drehzahleinstellung mit der Stufe 2. Keine allzu großen Chips.
The chips are not too big, and the edges are clean and smooth.
So,
Here we have a completely different material, a cement-bound fiberboard. I cannot, of course, work with a normal saw blade here. For this, I need a saw blade equipped with a blade for cutting metal.
Hier brauche ich ein Sägeblatt mit einer hartmetallbestickten Schneide. Das Ganze setzt
I'm
jetzt
putting
hier
the whole thing on a
auf
setting
die
of pendulum stroke 2.
Einstellung 2. Die Drehzahl auf
The engine speed is
4.
set to 4, and now we can start.
Und jetzt legen wir los.
Even hard materials can be cut without a problem. Ideally, in the facade area, of course, for cutting wall intrados. Here we have all options for the jigsaw blades and, of course, the machines as well. So I think we've seen many applications. I hope you had fun watching this. I look forward to next time. Until then, Frank.